Welcome to inDialog. I'm Vidhya. Today we meet Tabla virtuoso Zakir Hussain. How and when did your association with music begin?
As a child, born in a music family, my father being the tabla player, it never was decided exactly on a particular day that I would begin. It just, you just sort of slide right into it.
You had a very unique relationship with your father in that he was your guru also.
Yes, I had many layered relationship with him.
Share some of your experiences while working with the Shakthi group. Your rehearsals must have been charged with
electricity.
Electricity, right?
Real electricity. It's amazing, it's rare when 4 people come together and they have no preconceived idea as to what they're going to do. They have no music planned. They have no things written out on a piece of paper. This is what we're going to do. You just sit down and you open your instruments and somebody starts something and somebody joins in and somebody joins in and it begins. And Shakthi started like that.
How did you meet Tony?
How did I meet Tony? Tony is the world.
You were the youngest percussionist to receive the Padmashree in 1988.
Oh, I've had that honor, yes.
Yes. Do you remember what your reaction was when you heard the news?
Oh, I remember. It's like it was yesterday. It was very important to me. That day was a very special day. Well, that night was a very special night because what happens is the papers usually come out at 3 or 4 in the morning in India. And I was playing a concert that night in a place called Xavier's College in Mumbai, sorry. And the Times of India office is about 2 blocks away. And I got on stage to play with Ravi Shankar at about 3:30 in the morning. And we were going to play we were the last ones on till 6 in the morning or something. And my father was sitting in the front and we started playing the piece. And halfway through the first piece, somebody walked in and whispered something to the MC, the guy who announces the concerts. And that guy went to my father and whispered something in his ear, and my father, really, like that. And so then my father pointed to Ravi Shankar and said something to the announcer. And so we waited till the piece was finished. And then the announcer walked up to the stage and whispered something in Ravi Shankar's ear. And I'm wondering what's going on. Has somebody died? Something happened? Are we supposed to stop? Is there a riot? What happened? And then Ravi Shankar put his sitar down, picked up the announcing mic and said in the mic, I'm very happy to announce, and he pointed to me, that Ustad Zakir Hussain has been awarded the Padmashree. So it was the first time he called me an Ustad. I'd been since that age in front of him, and I played with him since I was 12 years old. So that was like, and the whole audience erupted, and my father jumped up. He found a garland from somewhere and garlanded me. So, it was like a very special occasion, and he had tears in his eyes, I had tears in my eyes. It's still a very special moment. So anyway, so that's what it was. It was like giving back to him something.
Quite unforgettable.
Yeah, it was very special.
What role do you think you played in cultivating acceptance for world music, or even for that matter, Indian music?
Well, I feel that as far as Indian music is concerned, nobody has done more for for propagating or bringing forward this traditional art form called Indian classical music to the world than Ravi Shankar and my father Allah Rakha. And I don't think any one of us can equal the kind of work they have done for this. But in terms of world music, in terms of taking Indian classical music and presenting it in a kind of form which makes sense to musicians all over the world as a music to interact with. I mean, when Ravi Shankar and Allah Rakha presented their music, it was very traditional, deeply rooted into that sabhyata or whatever you want to call it. People felt that they couldn't touch it and disturb it. They couldn't move it or change it or work with it. Someone like me or Shankar, we come forward and we play this music and we create doors and windows for people to look in because of our treatment of the music is such that people start to see this connection. They start to see these openings which they can fit right into and work with. So that's basically been our contribution, to make it possible for musicians from all over the world to have an input into this music, realize that they can plug in and they'll be able to work with it and use it as a sound process, as a machine that's going to help them to become more complete.
You must be proud of that.
I'm very happy that we've been in some ways of service. I mean, I look back and I think that myself, Shankar, two Indian musicians, we've had the great fortune of being in the eye of the storm, in the eye of this twister that kind of began in early 70s with Shakthi and is now actually what you may call the source of what the music is all about now. So we are very fortunate, we feel privileged that we were part of this process that began then and is now what you may call the rule book in some ways.
What motivated you to start Moment Records?
Again, it seemed like it was a natural process. Musicians from India kept saying, this company, it's doing my music, but it's not doing it well. I mean, I don't know anything about what they're doing with it, where it is. I go to Tower Records, it's not there. I go to CD, whatever, one, and it's not there, and what's going on? And I felt that it was the same thing myself. And so I felt that there should be a company which is sympathetic, who's sympathetic to the artist's needs and how the artists want their music presented. That was one. And secondly, Indian music is best performed and listened to live. You put it in a recording studio and everybody is so concerned with time that they really are not letting go and relaxing into their music and playing it the way they want to. So these were the two thoughts that I had when we first put together Moment, was that the artists should have total control over the presentation of the music, and the music should be presented in its entirety the way it's done on stage.
You play with North Indian, South Indian, Western musicians and dancers. I mean, how do you manage to wear all these hats so easily?
Oh my God, I just grow my hair. No, it's, since I was very young, my father, he's been a very important element in this, because I was 12 or 13 years old or 14 years old, and I saw him playing with the likes of K.V. Narayan Swami, who's a great vocalist, or Palghat Mani Iyer, or Palghat Raghu, and all these guys. So he was one of the first North Indian musicians to actually interact with South Indian musicians. So I was watching that since I was very young, and I remember once I was 16 years old, and I was put on the stage along with him and Palghat Raghu, and we played together as a trio. So since that young age I was already interested because of this incredible, intense rhythmic repertoire that South India has. And because of that happening, and then coming in touch with Shankar and Vinayakram to play with Shakthi, I was already like getting into some ideas of what South Indian rhythms were all about. So that, and then after getting in touch with Shankar, and then Shankar and I made a record with Palgat Mani Iyer. So that was being in heaven, all, playing with Mani Iyer was the greatest mridangist ever. And so it was a great experience. And then I went to Rishi Valley in South India, where he was a teacher, Mani Iyer, and I studied with him for three months. Yeah.
Oh, is that right? So
that was important, and because of that, I was able to interact with South Indian musicians on more comfortably than other North Indian drummers, because of this whole process of being in touch with them, of learning, and having friends who you constantly play with who are South Indians. So I didn't feel like I had to wear another hat or something. It was just seemed again a normal process, a normal thing to do. So I felt lucky that I was connected with such musicians who helped me to do these different things.
The quintessential showman, and you blend playfulness and virtuosity in all your performances. Is this something that you have cultivated with a purpose?
I didn't. I really enjoy playing. I love playing. As a child, I was a ham. I wanted to say to look what I can do. And I enjoyed the attention. I loved the attention. It was something that I guess my ego needed. But apart from that, I really felt good about playing music, and from very early age I had no problems expressing how I felt on stage. So there's a lot of musicians who get on stage and they feel that they're playing this form of music which requires quiet, it requires closing of eyes, being very serious and really getting into it, and yes, there are elements that require that kind of attention, but a lot of it also is enjoying yourself, having fun, feeling good, being happy about where you are. It's such a fortunate place to be there, to be doing this kind of art form. And for me, it was more like, look, guys, it's such an incredible thing. Enjoy it, see it, feel it, have fun with it. So that has always been the way I've approached this music, and I don't try to disguise my love for it. My happiness for being where I am with it, it's something that I want to share with people.
What was your experience like composing music for films?
I never really went out and looked for the job of a music composer because I was too busy trying to be a musician. But in contact with Mickey Hart, certain projects fell in my lap, like Francis Ford Coppola's film Apocalypse Now. When he made the film, I got sent a video of it, and there were many of us musicians in the Bay Area who were sent the video and said, okay, we'll give you 7 days in the studio, you do the music. Carmen Coppola, Francis Ford Coppola's father, was what you would call the compiler of the music. But what he would do is he would farm out the music to various musicians in the Bay Area, and they'd do the music, and then he would take it and select what he thought worked for the film. So we were all given these videos, and I was also given my days in the studio, and I worked on that project. And I'm happy to say that actually 12 minutes of my music got selected as the ending of the film, when Marlon Brando gets killed. That whole part, I don't know why my music was for death, but anyway. So it was selected, and that part was selected, and I'm very happy. Then Mickey Hart and I did music for Vietnam, a television history, 13-part series for PBS. And I was part of that and composing the work, and various other film projects. Projects that came to me through Mickey. I did those. Little Buddha was much later, and then came Heat and Dust, which was Merchant Ivory's film that I did music for, but then also by default ended up acting in, because Nasiruddin Shah, who was supposed to do the role, fell sick or something happened, and he couldn't do it. So 2 days before the shoot, I was drafted into the movie. I had no idea of acting or anything. So anyway, so that's another story. But so I ended up doing music for Heat and Dust, and then for their other films, and then In Custody was another film that I did for Merchant Ivory. You're awake. I saw your light. It's bad for you to read this late.
I suppose you want to be my very good friend again.
Do you mind? I just finished another film in India. It's made in English and for release by Fox here. And it's called Everybody Says I'm Fine. It's an English film. And so, you know, it goes on like that. I do film projects as much as I can handle. But it's another challenging area that I like to work in. Because, I mean, it's easy now to express yourself musically through your own instrument. But to be able to give expression and life to a scene through music, which involves other people, and having them do what someone else has asked you to do, a director has asked you to do, and be able to translate the director's vision into an orchestral piece that's going to put life into film is a great challenge.
Yes,
really a great challenge.
You, like you mentioned, you've acted in a couple of films also. SARS also you've acted
SARS
in, right?
I acted in, and Heat and Dust, I acted in that. I've done some narration on TV for various documentaries in India and here, and of course I do commercials, TV ads. My Taj tea ad has been going for 12 years now, and I keep doing 2 or 3 every year for them. So, you know, it's just enough to pay the rent in India.
ईमान, इतना कम जानती हूँ मैं तुम्हारे बारे में। एक तूफान की तरह 7 समंदर पार से आते हो, और जैसे मेरी सारी जिंदगी पे कब्जा कर लेना चाहते।
नहीं बंसी, मैं अपनी जिंदगी तुम्हारे हाथ सौंपना चाहता हूँ। और क्या जानना चाहोगी मेरे बारे में?
कौन है तुम्हारे लोग, तुम्हारा परिवार?
मेरा कोई परिवार नहीं, सिवाय मेरे म्यूजिशियंस के। वही मेरे सगे हैं।
मतलब?
मैं एक मिशन में बड़ा हुआ। एक घर से दूसरे घर, वहां से तीसरे घर भेजा गया। छोटी सी उम्र में काफी दुनिया देखी है मैंने। ये संगीत, ये हंसी मजाक, ये तो हथियार मैंने अपनाए। जिंदगी भर मुझे एक ही चीज की तलाश रही, अपनेपन की।
With all your traveling and busy schedules, do you get any spare time at all?
Usually when I'm in America, which is from April all the way to November, I do probably one tour which is about 40 odd days long. But the rest of the time I only go out and play on weekends.
So what do you do in your spare time?
Oh, well, I'm working with Moment, I'm composing music. I have students that I have to teach, and so give them some time. So keeps me busy, take my daughters hiking or to their various classes they want to go to, stuff like that.
I've also read you're a big cricket lover, right?
Oh, I love cricket. Cricket, don't even joke about such a serious matter. Cricket is important, yes, very important. I used to play for my school when I was young, and I broke a couple of fingers. Then my father said that's enough.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyway, so cricket is really a very big passion, and I've gone ahead and gotten the dish that helps me to watch cricket anywhere else in the world. So I'm up late nights watching the game and trying to explain it to Townie, my wife, how it's, you know, the intricacies of it and so on. But she's given up, and and I still keep watching it. I love cricket. It's really a big passion. So whenever I have time, I am trying to see what's going on as far as cricket is concerned in the world.
How would you like history to remember you?
As a student, as somebody who's still learning, because we are all students. We all learn, you know, and hopefully, you know, learn something that is of some value to not only us, but to everyone who's around us. And so I'm just a student who's doing my bit to be able to decipher something that's going to help whoever's around me to grow, and me as well.
Thank you very much for being with us.
My pleasure.
It's been a pleasure.
Thanks, Vidya.